So it appears that Enlisted has just dropped the latest dev server, and without further ado, I'm gonna start reviewing the weapons and vehicles like I promised in my last video. And with today's video, we're gonna start with the Super Pershing. I know most of you wanted the MG42-100, but this thing is just, in my personal opinion, much more interesting than the MG42-100. That said, without further ado, let's get started. Of course, this video has been made possible for the friends at Discord. If you haven't liked, subscribed, or joined Discord, I highly suggest that you do, because that's where all the leaks are coming from, so that's good. And let's get started with the history. With the development of the T-26E3 Pershing, the United States found itself with an adequate quote-unquote heavy tank for the European theater, but it was still not on par with the latest German heavy tanks, such as the Tiger II-H with the long 88mm KWK-43 cannon, which proved itself better, in my opinion and in US opinion, than the 90mm of the M3 cannon from the Pershing. Therefore, the United States Ordnance Office developed a new tank and a new gun on the tank to improve the 90mm cannon's capability. This was called the 90mm T-15. This was then installed onto the T-26E1 prototype, and then that prototype was renamed the T-26E1-1. The vehicle found itself sent to Europe for combat trials in March 1945, and the soldiers of the 3rd Armored Division received the tank, and then decided to put on extra armor plates on the turret and the hull. This saw some combat service against the Germans, and it would serve until the end of the war, where it will be scrapped in the post-war period. That said, let's move on to stats, because that's all it for history. The tank has a crew of 5, which is actually pretty good. It has 42 rounds for the 90mm T-15E1 cannon, it has 12.7 on the commander's cupola, and the 7.62 in the machine gun port. The maximum speed is 40 km per hour, and is actually pretty good going reverse. The hull armor is 102 in the front, 76 on the side, 51 on the back, and 25 on the bottom. This is pretty much exactly the same, except for the turret armor is 102 on the front, 76 on the side, 76 on the back, which is actually pretty good, and 25 on the top. The engine power is 425 horsepower at 2,600 RPM, and the weight is 49 tons. Overall, what I think is that this is a very good tank. And of course, we're at the verdict section, so I do think this is a very good tank, and it does have a very much needed buff and a very much needed better gun. The gun, for the first thing, if you notice, is that the gun is extremely long. It is actually longer than the Pershing's gun, the regular Pershing, which is coming at no surprise, but it's almost as long as the tank itself, which is interesting. The long gun also means a long reload. That means that unlike the regular Pershing, this will take a long time to reload, meaning to make your shots count. If you miss, you will be actually waiting for a longer time to reload the thing than the regular M26 Pershing. The penetration is actually very good on the longer gun, so that's good. And moving forwards and backwards, which is actually something that this tank does very well, I would say it's a very good at forwards and very good at backwards, so that's good. The suspension also allows you to fire on the move. Just don't make sudden stops or start the engine when you're trying to fire. Just let it cruise and you should be able to fire your shots perfectly. On the other hand, the armor is really good because it does have those extra plates, and I do think the armor is one of the best in game. But, and this is the but, I will potentially see a lot of people use this tank as if this is the King Tiger and will essentially be acting like nothing can penetrate it, which is the case if you're fighting against people who don't know how to kill you. For those who do know how to kill you, it is actually very easy to get killed, especially either side on and even front on. So be careful, you are not invulnerable to getting shot. As a matter of fact, I'll probably make a video to essentially say how to kill the Super Pershing, so that's that. You also have 2 machine guns, which is actually pretty good, like I said, a 12.7 and a 7.62, which is great. Those 2 machine guns will come in very handy, especially if you're reloading, and they're actually pretty good against humans, so that's good. I do find this tank extremely useful because, number 1, it is upgunned and upgraded M26, so that's good, and it also does have a much more needed armor, so that's that. And I do think this is a very good upgrade for the regular Pershing. I honestly do think everyone should get this thing, not because it's that good, but it's because it gives you a lot more protection for pretty much the exact same speed, so that's good. In my opinion, this is a must-get. I do think they did a good thing about adding this as a regular tech tree and not a premium, so that's great. Overall, this is what my verdict on the Super Pershing. Really good tank, really good vehicle. Highly suggest that you get it, and have a great day, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.